Alright, it's another weekly update, not about ice cream, but about Freebirds. Look at her, she looks definitely very different this week. That's the front part of the cabin top, now laying supported by these scaffolds, upside down on the strong back. And yeah, it's definitely very different. But before we jump on board to see how that looks like from the top, some words what happened down here. It's a bit frustrating. I see now on the camera it doesn't look so much different than it did last week, that whole fairing here, but it's insane how much work it goes into it. You can see it a bit how these lines slowly taking shape. Same here in the front, but yeah, that's a really hard area because it's bended in this direction and in this direction, so it's a really tricky one. Uses a lot of filler, all sort of material, and there have been two guys working only on this hull repair or this fairing nearly the whole week. So yeah, a lot of work that goes into here. Some more laminating. That's going to be the new bulkheads, and that's absolutely necessary. We're from the beginning unsure whether that would be the case or no. So these are the original ones. It's now the very front one, and this is how it looked like when we opened it. That's the bottom part of it, where it sat underwater for a while, so that's just completely fucked in here. But there are also other areas. This is actually on the top. That's another penetration that came from where the trampoline is attached. And yeah, this is the balsa core with some plywood on the side, and we're gonna replace them with purely foam and 2 layers of 800 by X on it. So they're running in all 4 directions. It's gonna be super strong and super light. There's the door in the back there. It has to be cut. It was the last piece we took out of the plug, and yeah, it's really half the weight of the original part and stronger. All right, now let's go up. Hope you're ready for that, because apart from the flipped cabin top, there's another little secret waiting up here. There is no more cabin top, no more old cabin top at least. So these are still the pillars that are standing here. We're gonna open up this area here to reinforce that, and have to extend the pillars, obviously, build them completely new, use the old shape of it, and that's where the new carbon will run all the way, having no support in the middle. And let's just take a view for the moment on how that looks like here. Definitely plenty of headroom now. It felt a bit like digging in the past to have a full cross section of that core, of that whole layup of the old cabin top. And while most of it was balsa and plywood in good conditions, there were areas that had only plywood, others had even had hardwood in it, and this was not symmetrical from side to side, so probably there have been done repairs over the time. That's already the exposing of the fiberglass, where the new cabin top will sit on and get attached to. And the trickiest part for the cutting is obviously the bulkhead, because we also have to extend it. We will have to get higher, but since we found some areas just like here, and there are also other areas just like over here where these cables are in that we want to get rid out of, we actually cut. You can see on this part here how much we cut down, but that's the old cabin top, and that's how much we cut in, just to get a really solid base to get the foam on, and we could took the height of the of our plaque as a template. We cut it out of plastic, so we can just put that on, and we should have exactly the same height of the foam that we have to build out of it. It's going to be a bit trickier here on the side because we didn't have an exact template of it, but that's going to be fitting in there. I'll take you inside here just to enjoy the view. It's going to be definitely very different than it was before. There should be standing height everywhere. And let's see who is going to fill that hole. That's the job of this part here, which we flipped earlier this week. And now being upside down, we could prepare it. You see all the grooves that run in both directions. So that's just because we have one type of biax that runs 45-45 and no 0-90. So we have to run them once like this and once like that. And these grooves work really nice. I improved them a bit. We actually made them a bit wider and a bit deeper, just to have it easier to lay the glass, so you don't have to cut the glass. So it's a bit extra wide, like 2 centimeters extra, but that's still so much easier to fill this part than cutting the fiberglass while it's wet and so on. And that's the carbon reinforcement. That's already 10 layers on that were vacuumed on here. And the last little detail that maybe comes a bit too late now, depending on whether I get it tomorrow or no, that's some aluminium backing plates that I want to put in here, and that's where the mast rotation pad eyes will sit. So all the force of the mast rotation will be on there, which is usually not much, but if you forget to tension it and you have the whole windward pressure on it, then it can be a lot of load. So they need something extra to sit in. Before, the bolts just came all the way through. So remember, that's the inside of the cabin top. It came all the way through, and with the bolt was secured, and then just had like a little cap, fiberglass cap that sat on it. But it stood out proud. You wouldn't see the nut itself, but it just had this cover. And having aluminium in here and then laminated on top of it, we then from the top can drill holes and make threads into the aluminium. That's the plan. If that's not going to be here till tomorrow, we just have to access it from the top and cut it again. That's the whole drawback. But otherwise it's quite nice because there's no tracks or anything running on the cabin top for the loads, where that would have to take like a track like this for the jib or something like this. There's none of these forces on the cabin top, which makes the job much easier. And the front locker is also progressing. I'm not going to take you down. There's a bit of acrobatic needed for that. So let's just look here from the outside. You can see that is where the bulkhead was. That's now exposed fiberglass. And on top left corner, very hard to see, but that was a bit wet wood. And that's also where the water ingress came that made this balsa rot. And this penetration, there are many of those because that's from this track that runs here that the trampoline was secured on. In last week I explained how we're going to solve that for the future. So exciting. What's up for next week? There's going to be a little improvement. So once this is glassed in, we're gonna fill and fare the whole thing. That's gonna probably take a good part of the week, if not the entire one, and already put a primer on. We're not going to paint it yet, just because we still have this much exposed fiberglass to glue onto the deck from inside and outside. And with the spray paint, it's going to be easy even to spray overhead. So yeah, it's just going to be primed and ready for it. Probably didn't explain all these holes last time. These are where the lights will sit in, and that's just a PVC pipe. So the cables will still be movable, and they don't run any corners. Well, they will eventually, but to run them, you can always run them from one light to the other and have access to it, and they all will be back there. That will be on top of the nav station, so it comes out there. No more cable in the bulkhead or anything, and no more fixed cables. They will all be removable. All right, and yeah, the nicer part to flip it now will be, instead of using attaching something to the strong back, we're gonna probably make two like a chain plate, basically. Put out some fiberglass and run it over a PVC pipe or whatever, and 2-3 layers on both sides, let it dry, and then we can actually lift the cabin from there. And then also when we flip it back, it will still be not going around the whole cabin top, because that was a bit the tricky part when we did it this time. And yeah, we did a little bit of damage there, nothing serious, but if we can make it better, why not? All right, that's a good take for ending this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you around somewhere. That's an interesting maneuver. I hard it there to walk so far down on this ramp, just because it's so slidey. But if you know, you know. That's the way to enjoy the ocean.